Yo, what's up, guy? Yo, Ralph.
What's up?
Nah.
Ralph, you want to do
Yo,
the
this
intro,
guy
Ralph?
was quick.
What?
Why you so quick? You gotta let the guy do the introduction.
Let Ralph, let Ralph do it. I'm gonna share the love.
Nah, I
Share
don't
the
know how to do
duties.
the intro.
Yo, every time I
can't.
do it though, but I'm a line
know how
stepper, but you'll share it with Ralph.
Share
You
the
see
duties.
I don't know how to
You
do
see the
the intro.
favoritism in here?
Listen, ever since you broke protocol, Ange broke protocol last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yo, dude, I am protocol. I don't break it, bro.
You see?
Yo,
Yo.
he just gets more.
So I'm like, yo, let
and
Ralph
more.
do it. Ralph don't get a chance. Go ahead, Ralph.
What?
Yo, my
Oh, this is the knowing part.
Yo,
Come on, you know I'm the worst.
Yo, this guy sells second base with a hockey
Yo,
stick.
that's how. Yo,
The worst.
Yo, that's how I know you guys don't even listen to your own podcast.
Yo, bro, and for the bilingual people, ¿cómo estás?
Yo, it took him all week to learn.
Yo, that's the only thing he knows. That's why
¿Cómo estás, mi amigos?
he don't know nothing.
All week. He probably was all week. Como.
Como te llamo? Te llamo?
Dios te ama.
Dios.
Jesús Cristo.
All right. What up? Welcome to the Knowing Part
See?
podcast.
That's how it's supposed
That's
to
how-
flow,
that's how it's
baby.
supposed to start.
I mean,
Come on,
we
man.
episode what is this? 45, 46,
Chill, dog.
47?
That's why you don't even gotta say
We
it.
in the late 40s.
Listen, people don't like change, especially in 40s.
We should just say,
That was a
yo.
bar.
That was a bar.
People don't like change, dog.
Yeah, so we back. How you guys doing? What's up? Summertime. Look, everybody. The arms is out. Come on, let's see the flexes. Let's see some flexes. Ooh.
Ralph,
Let him out.
You know
Ralph
what the
got
bicep.
the guns.
Let him out. Let him out. Come on, Ange.
Chill, son. I sold my ticket to the gun show already, bro.
Let's go, Mike.
Nah, chill, dog.
Yo, you know what the biggest guns here, man.
Yeah, that's why he
This
did
dude-
it.
yeah,
Yeah, he did it so the light could go on him.
Nah, man,
Yo,
that's
that
fat.
shirt's about to buzz me.
That's Lufa,
That shirt
that's the
is
black Lufa original.
Triple X. Yo, you don't know the type of Photoshop I do on these videos after
That's a medium.
post production.
He wears medium shirts. That's what it is.
That's exactly what I
I hit
get.
him. Yeah, I hit him with the filter. It's all filter. But yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, we on the YouTubes.
Yes.
So if you want to see us laugh,
Yo, I just want to.
subscribe and click the subscribe button on the YouTubes. I just feel like I have to say that. I don't know why, because
Yeah.
everybody else say it.
Nah. Because people gotta subscribe, B.
Dog, I'm just trying to be responsible.
Nah,
with
man.
this
People
whole-
gotta go like. They gotta go subscribe. So
What,
that
you mean hit the thumbs up thing?
Yeah, hit
That's
the thumbs up. hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. Comment. Share.
Yeah, man. Do.
Yeah, be responsible.
Yeah, be responsible.
Yo, I just
we
wanna-
need you guys help.
Yo, can I speak?
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, go ahead. man.
I just want to shout out my boy Sal, his wife Maricol. They always saying good things about the show.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to shout you out,
shout out
Sal.
to Sal.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for just the edification, man. It
Yes,
means a
yeah.
lot that you're enjoying the show. And yeah,
Sal know what it is. Sal used to be in the Saturday morning.
yeah, that's what he said. He said it reminds you
Right,
of Saturday
good morning,
mornings.
right,
So Saturday
right.
mornings used to pops. Huh? We used
Yeah.
to fight.
This is the beginning of it. That
You-
was the,
you
that
used
was
to
the
fight.
Don't
genesis
say
of it.
we.
We went over the word. You was fighting the word.
Me and Marcus went in.
Whoa.
Yo, since we giving shout outs, Marisol and Ange.
Oh yeah. What's
Marisol
up?
and
What's up, lady?
Ange.
Nice.
Or the PA Connect.
The PA Connect.
PA Connect. Shout out to the PA Connect.
Yeah.
Listen, we got people out in the Bay hitting us up.
Facts.
We got people out in the Caribbean, Canada.
Yep.
So, yo, shout out to everybody.
England,
Africa.
the
Yeah,
UK.
UK.
Right up.
Yo, this internet thing is just worldwide.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just the word of God could just go out there at the click of a button, which is a blessing. You know, these tools, you could use it to bless others, and we just hope that that's what happens. But
Yo, where Brooklyn at, son? Yo, my Brooklyn cats.
Yo,
Y'all better
everything
start
was
commenting,
just-
man.
it was
Nice
going
and
smooth.
clean.
Show some love,
Everything was
baby.
all proper and
I tried to finish it off.
Show love. It's the
responsibly.
Brooklyn
It was
way.
like,
Come on, baby.
yeah, shout out to Brooklyn. We from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We in
BK.
Brooklyn, so
but you know he had to put the filth on it.
Know it.
He got to put the accent on it, the accent mark.
Filth.
But you know what we about to get into? Tell them, Filthy.
Yo, Genesis 18, baby.
Nah, that's not how you do it.
Oh wait, what was I supposed to do?
Give them the Filthy.
You see, I forgot how to do the
Go on your mic.
man.
Can you remind him?
I forgot, son.
Genesis 18.
yeah.
Get into the word.
That's it. That was a good one.
Yo, Marcus, you coin.
That's the filthy.
That's the
Listen.
filthy.
There's
Yo,
two things.
That's the you gotta be consistent, man.
You can't be forgetting these things, though.
I told you the
chill,
people
son.
don't want change after 4.
That's filthy after hours, man.
Listen, this thing
We
is
about to
developing.
start that.
This thing is developing. So
Yo.
now that you gave the filthy, all right, baby, let's get into the word.
Let's talk about Abraham.
That's when we know we're about to get started. So we're in Genesis 18. All right. So 17.
Yo,
Go ahead.
yo, bro. I gotta say, I agree with Marcus.
See? Thank you. Starting off the show right.
That's fine.
But
Yeah,
we gotta talk about it.
Yeah,
We're gonna
with
talk
the whole with Abraham, because I went back looking at Romans 4,
That's fine.
and it looked like it's completely supported what Marcus is saying in terms of like that when Abraham laughed, it was a joyous laugh. It was a laugh of joy,
Expectation, yep.
of expectation, and he believed, and he was just saying, "Yo, can Ishmael be a part of this blessing and not be excluded?" And then God said, "No."
That's
He's
not how this
not
program is gonna go.
right.
I understand your concern, Abe.
Yeah.
And that's your little man's.
Yeah, his first son.
And you love him. I get it. He's gonna get blessed. But this is how the program is gonna go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the reason that I was leaning towards that is because of what I read in this chapter. Same scenario, but a different response from God. So that's what led me to it. But
I mean, it's all
Whatever.
right.
It is what it is.
Yo, we could see.
Keep it moving. Y'all listen, I humbled myself last time, man. If
Nah,
Marcus
listen,
is
man.
that's when
always
you get
right.
the.
Marcus
listen,
is
man.
always right.
We could.
I'm not saying I was right. It's not a right or wrong
Listen,
thing.
we
Marcus
could
knows
what the
agree that.
scriptures say.
You know why? Because I went back and I read it too, and it made me even confirm what I was saying.
Okay.
Marcus
That's what I'm
knows in
So
full.
so let's go into it.
What do you mean go into it?
Let's go into it. Real quick, let's talk about 17. What was in 17? Real super quick. The covenant, right? The Lord. Go ahead, Ange.
What you want me to read it?
No, let's review 17 for
No,
2
I mean
seconds.
what we're talking about is the laugh, right? In verse 17, right? With Abraham.
No, we're talking about all of 17 before we get into 18. Let's just review it real quick, what we kind of went over. You know what I'm saying? Just in case people forgot, it's been like seven whole days. See, you got to be old school to know. Hit you with the Tony Braxton right there. Angelo, no. Angelo.
Yeah, Angelo.
Angelo know the Tony Braxton. Anyway, I'm showing my age, but all right. So chapter 17, right? The Lord kind of gave Abraham a sign, right? He spoke about the sign of the covenant. Kind of went into circumcision. Circumcision being the sign of a covenant that was already ratified before, right? And he's reiterating the covenant. What else we had?
It was the human responsibility, right?
Right.
Their part in that covenant was just to show them that way were the Israel people.
And the Lord is telling them, like, you're gonna keep it, and the generations, like your children's, and so on, you're gonna keep my you're gonna keep this covenant, and this is gonna be the sign, right? The sign of circumcision. And again, this promise, right? This promise is not gonna be through Ishmael, it's gonna be through Sarah. All right. And I remember before the Lord was like, the seed of the promise is gonna come from you. I'm wondering if Abraham was like, all right, from me. However, and this whole Ishmael thing came about.
Right.
Probably, but we spoke about that when you're trying to accelerate the promise of God and going outside of His will to try to make something happen, it turns into turmoil.
Right.
And we're going to continue to see that propagate in the family and in their lives. So, God keep repeating the promise, right? He keep repeating it, not because people is hard to hear, but that's encouragement.
No, I think there's a both. He's a human being.
You think so?
And he hasn't For how many years did God say he was going to be, the father of many nations, and nothing has happened, and his wife is getting older, he's getting older. So, yeah, I mean, it's encouragement, but it's also, helping with that disbelief that, is in us as humans.
Okay.
That's how I see it. I see it coming both ways. And
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I agree to a certain extent.
And then, like, going on to the point where, Marcus and Ralph are wrong. I mean, is this not the first time where he mentioned Sarah in the promise?
I believe so, yes.
So to me, being that it's the first time, then now he's like, all right, God just said it was Sarah. And now the fact that she's already past childbearing age, I think that's why he laughed. And that's why God needed to say it again and correct him and say, no, it's Sarah, your wife. Like, believe me when I'm telling you this. You're like,
yeah. All right, so yeah, let's go. Let's go chapter 18. Let's read from 1 to 8.
Hold on, one quick thing though before we jump in.
Yeah.
Just the one thing we like outside from what we were discussing that I don't know if we even mentioned it on the last podcast in terms of like that human era that continuously progress into today's world. Why we see the turmoil now in the Middle East between the Israeli world in terms of the Arabs and the Jews constantly warring. So this is the consequences, and this is the fruit of that sinful behavior that happened with Abraham that's still propagating from generations to decades and decades and millennia to this point where we still see this turmoil within this land between the Jews and the Arabs.
So just to clarify what you're saying, Ishmael is the progenitor of the Arab nations. All right. So you're seeing it's half brothers.
Right.
It's a beef. It's a family beef happening, and that family beef has been happening since Genesis 1920. Around there is just been going on, and we see it happening today, like Ralph said. And that's what sin does. Right. Sin it bears fruit.
That's right.
And it keeps bearing fruit, and it keeps just causing chaos. This is the fruit of the decision of the first man and woman.
That's right.
To go against God. And this is the consequence of that. But, thank God through his son, Jesus Christ, he was able to, take on the penalty and revert it, change it. Right. The physical realities we didn't experience that yet. That's still to come. But the most important part, which is the spiritual part, which is the your soul and your soul's destination and the judgment of sin, Jesus Christ took care of that. Right? And he took on all of that, and as a free gift, we just have to believe him. Like Abraham was counted righteous because he believed God, that we read in chapter 15.
15.
And that was the gospel. So, yeah, man. Chapter 18. Yeah, let's do 1 to 8.
Cool. Sorry.
Then the Lord appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre, as he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing by him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the ground, and said, My Lord, if I have now found favor in your sight, do not pass on by your servant. Please let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will bring a morsel of bread, and you may refresh your hearts. After that you may pass by, inasmuch as you have come to your servant. They said, Do as you have said. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said, Quickly, make ready 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes. And Abraham ran to the herd, took a tender and good calf, gave it to a young man, and he hastened to prepare it. So he took butter and milk and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree as they ate. Right, 1 through 8.
Yeah. All right. So what's happening? What are we seeing?
Abraham got some visitors. And just his reaction, he ran to his visitors and, the hospitality. That's what I see. Just the hospitality that Abraham had, and how he just set up food for them, water so they could wash their feet, even to the point where he stood by them while they ate. And you could just see he's probably tending to their needs, whatever they need, more water, maybe more food, whatever they, he was real attentive to their needs. And I just think about our hospitality as Christians. When people, if you having guests unexpectedly, and are you the spouse that the other spouse could run to and be like, well, somebody's coming, I need you to hurry up and make food, or I need you to hurry up and clean this or wash this, or I need help, or are you the spouse that's like, man, I don't want nobody coming over here. Because, I'm thinking, I don't know, did Abraham know that this was the Lord at this time? And even if he did or did not, it didn't matter, because he was prepared to just be hospitable at all times. And I think about that scripture where it says you could tend angels unaware, to always be hospitable. And I think about that, just, if you have people coming over to your house, this is a time to minister. So you have to be ready, and even if you're not ready, are you going to be, the person in the house, whether it's a spouse or you're the child, or whether you're the parent, are you going to be ready to open up and serve? Serve somebody else's guests. A lot of times you're like, oh, they ain't come to see me. Like, why do I have to get up and go cook? Or why do I have to get up and, or are you the guest? Like, really? You having people over? All right, let me get up and go to the market. Let me make sure that your guest is, properly taken care of, because those are points and times to minister to people and to, you don't know. It could be somebody who needs help, who needs to get saved. And your hospitality is part being part of your ministry.
That was and in that same vein, like, Abraham was that dude. He was important. He was a boss, yet he had such a servant's heart. As soon as these dudes came, he rushed to them to see what they needed, and and asked them to stay. And like Mike said, he didn't join them while they were eating as if they were like friends. He was like standing there making sure that they had everything that they needed. And I just see such a beautiful heart behind somebody he's an important dude. You know what I mean? And still, he didn't call his servants to go serve them. He went and served them.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I just like the way you said that, because this is a true picture of what a servant leader looks like.
Exactly.
This is what a leader is supposed to serve. A true leader, as a man in a household, in your house, you're the prophet, you're the priest of your house. You're supposed to serve, and be that servant leader, and how you teach everyone else that, this is how we're hospital, this is how we care for others. And I like it. And the reason he's able to be a servant leader is because of very first sense when he says, when the Lord appeared, he sat at the door of his tent, because that's where we know Abraham. That's what he did. He pitched his tent and he pitched his altar. The man of tents and altars. So the only way you could be in a position where you can serve others is if you've been meeting with the Lord regularly. If that's your position, is to meet with God. And
where he told his wife, he said, quickly make ready 3 measures of fine meal. Like, he took the best. Right. He was getting the best of everything in the house. He wasn't, giving them, the Crasdale. Ain't nothing wrong with Crasdale, but you know what I mean? He wasn't giving them the associated and the associated juice. He was giving them the good juice. I'm just saying.
Damn, how about if you could only afford the 2 for $5?
Yo, listen, if you could afford the 2 for $5, if you got guests coming over, go get Tropicana for them, and you drink the 2 for $5.
The tropical fantasy.
Yo, you know why I'm saying that? Because there's so plenty of times where, I've had guests and you don't have enough of the best, but I would drink the 2 for $5. And I would give them the, what's that juice you always got at your house, man? Ralph always have the good juice.
Ralph got the best juice.
Ralph has the best.
I mean, it's a name that nobody is gonna know.
I think Ralph got a wealthy slave in the back that's cold pressing everything right? Fresh.
Word up, Ralph is who taught me about.
That's why he was like, y'all can't come in the basement.
No. But listen, Mike is bougie though.
Why? Because I'm always getting about you.
Because every time I have some guest over for Bible studies. God forbid I don't got potato bread. You know what I mean? For my burgers. And, you know,
Listen, but
like,
you can't be buying donuts.
Thank you.
Every week,
what are you talking
donuts.
about? Donuts. We talking about when I'm grilling and I got regular little buns.
Yeah.
If I don't have the potato
He'll
bread,
get the associated bread, and I'll be like, "Yo, fam, you gotta bring the you."
if I don't have potato bread, Mike gets on me. If I
No.
don't have the right salsa water,
No.
he can't drink Canada Dry.
Nah,
salsa.
bruh. You know, and that's why I came to look at Abraham. Like you said, he bought the fine. So that's all you know what I mean? Because again, you don't know. Again, if you got strangers in your house, you don't know. You know, you don't know who you're entertaining. So that's why I saw this and I was like, Abraham was like, bring the best for the guests. And that's the kind of heart you should have as a servant leader. But like you were saying, go ahead.
So I know that tree, that terebinth tree of Mamre was mentioned before, and I don't recall if it's associated with his worship. Right. And like you mentioned, Ralph, you know, the more time you spend with God, the more humble you'll be. And Abraham was a godly man, and we see that in his actions, right? The hospitality. And putting it in context, when you're dealing with, you know, ancient Eastern customs, that was something that was very important in their culture, right? If a stranger is coming, right, because we get the picture that they're passing by, they're traveling, and he went out to meet them and told them, listen, you guys take a break, take a rest. I'm going to take care of you. That's just the culture, and that's what they did. And it was very important to the point where sometimes the guests would take priority over your own family.
Yes.
Right? So their duty was, like, you're a guest in my home. I have to protect you. Right? So now you're number one priority. I have to protect you and provide everything for you right now for the night. If you're here for the night, I'm going to protect you. That was, and I think till this day, that culture is still present.
Yes.
They're very, you know, they're very hospitable, right? And we're seeing that over here.
And the thing is, as we read on and we get to the next chapter, you're gonna see how important that mind frame is, you know. And that's why I pointed it out first, because, you know, like you said, I'm glad you said that, to even protect.
Yeah.
You know, these are people that's under your house. If you have guests under your house, are you treating them like family? You know, is their lives gonna be good? You know, if any harm comes to your door, you're gonna be, you know, are you gonna treat them just like your family? And that's the attitude you see Abraham had. And like I said, I don't know if he even knew he was entertaining the Lord, but it didn't matter because he was on point as far as being a servant leader, like you guys are saying.
So Abraham is chilling and he see these three strangers coming. And you ask a question, did he know if that was the Lord? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll lean more towards no.
Why? Why would you say more towards no?
Cause from what we read, I don't see anything in particular that would cause him to think that. Unless, you know, we read before, the Lord came to him before. Right? In chapter 17, the Lord appeared to Abraham and he dealt with Abraham and he told Abraham that your wife is going to have a child. And Abraham said, you know, I'm 100 and my wife is this age. Yo, are we, you know what I'm saying? That whole scene. And again, in chapter 18, Sarah didn't have a child yet. So we know it was probably like 3 months later that he's now seeing another Christophany, another pre-incarnated meeting with God. Whether Christ changed his appearance, I don't know. But the fact that he went out and wanted to be hospitable, that was just the culture. I don't think he did it because he thought, oh, this is God.
Right.
That was just the type of man. He was a godly man. Yes. He was hospitable, sacrificial. Listen, you guys probably on a long journey. You need rest. And he urged them, right? This urgent, like, you guys come.
I get it. No, I agree.
Come into the house, right? But he's gonna figure it out later on.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that Jesus, right, looked the same here than he did in the New Testament?
No idea.
I mean, no idea, but I just thought that, you know what I mean? If
I don't. My personal opinion is that, you know, like when he was what was that? When he was walking to Aramaeus,
Yeah, the road to Aramis.
The road to Aramis. He was walking with his followers. They didn't recognize him. Right. So I think sometimes Jesus might veil his appearance in order so that you might get distracted because you see that as Jesus. But I need to pull something out of you. I don't need that to be a distraction. So
I don't think that was a distraction. There was obviously 3 men, right? That he was serving and cooking for. So he saw 3 individual men, and one of them, like you said, was a Christophany. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm just wondering
if that
face on that on Jesus was the same as Jesus in the New Testament.
I would say yes, but maybe you're not gonna recognize it. Whatever.
No, he didn't, because obviously,
right, yeah.
But that would be dope, right? If like
Jesus looked
was
the
there,
same.
boom,
I think he looked the same.
In the New Testament, like he was born
and
then turned into that man and looked the same way.
Well, I'm glad they didn't describe him.
Because you'd have T-shirts, right?
You would have more than T-shirts. You would have paintings.
You have free T-shirts.
You have huge paintings on walls. So I'm glad, us, we're prone to make idols.
Idols, right.
So that's why I'm glad they never described him physically.
And no, I was just going to point out, and you kind of see that in kind of like what you described, right? Abraham's godliness, and I see that it affected his family, affected his household, it affected his community.
Definitely.
He didn't have to say it twice.
Yep.
Right? Everybody understood. The young servant understood.
His wife.
Yo, let's go. We got guests. Let's make it happen for them and show them, love. Give them the best.
Yeah.
Told his wife same thing.
Yeah.
Chop.
And that's what it is, because I know how stressful that could be sometimes.
Right.
Like guests is coming over, and the
clean
other
the house,
spouse have to get up and like, yo, man, I was supposed to watch football all day today, man. You got me going to the store. I got to go and run and get meat. I got to get this. I got to get that. And, but understanding that this is part of the walk. This is part what you're called to do as a believer, as a Christian,
Putting others first.
Exactly.
That's putting somebody else's needs before yours.
Right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And you see that because, just from the prior chapter when he established the circumcision, and he says, okay, he immediately, obediently, and everyone listened because they knew he was a godly man.
Exactly.
And our whole life here is to serve God. But one of the other points I want to address too is,
and they were faithful to him too.
Right, they were faithful to
they
him.
Were faithful, like you
exactly.
see Eliezer.
Because you see the godliness.
Listen, it's easy to submit to a godly man.
That's right.
Right, to somebody that is that is gonna do right. Right. It's easy to do that, and even in the marriage, right? If a woman know that the man that she's dealing with is a godly man, then it'll be easier for her to submit to him.
Right, exactly.
And that's the picture we kind of see in here. Yeah.
But one of the other things I want to bring out also is that just in terms of application wise, are we that eager to invite God into our lives? You know what I'm saying? Are we inviting him into our homes? Are we ready to wake up early in the morning? Or, there's a conviction on myself in terms of am I excited to get into this word and meet with you and sit with you, Lord, and have you minister unto me and I minister unto you? Am I there to let me serve you, Lord? Let me read this, or let me just fellowship with you, or, whatever things that I do. Am I eager to do the same thing like the way he did when he just got up and ran? Abraham just ran. So that's the same way we should be in our house, eagerly to worship the Lord, eagerly to open the word and read it, eagerly to I'm about to pray because I just love you, Jesus, for what you've done for me.
Word up.
All right, so let's go from 9 to 15.
Then they said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" So he said, "Here in the tent." And he said, "I will certainly return to you according to the time of life. And behold, Sarah, your wife, shall have a son." Sarah was listening in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and Sarah had passed the age of childbearing. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, "After I have grown old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also." Where to?
15.
And the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I surely bear a child since I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will return to you according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, no, but you did laugh.
That was a check.
Yo, you think they stopped blazing?
Oh, they wasn't blazing, bro.
Yeah, because that's why, like, when I read it again, I was like, when she was like, should I have pleasure? And my Lord, too, like, being this old, you know, so she's probably thinking, like, you're saying this, but we ain't even getting it on like that no more. We done past that stage in our marriage and in our life. Like,
I could break a hip.
Word up. We just together.
Nah, I don't think that she was referring to smashing, though.
I think it was.
With pleasure?
What you think it was?
Yeah.
I think it was pleasure in having a child.
No,
pleasure.
I don't think
pleasure
so.
and
though.
sex.
Pleasure and yeah. When I read it again, that's the first thing that
Shall
came to
I
mind.
have pleasure, my Lord being old also.
Yeah. Right. Shall I have pleasure?
Yeah, maybe I guess because she brought in my Lord saying so he wasn't.
So
He wasn't.
all right. So imagine this, right? Imagine you preparing a meal. It's not microwave. You're not throwing it in the microwave.
Yo, what's wrong with the microwave, man?
No,
Don't
I'm
be
saying
blasting the mic.
Abraham didn't have a microwave.
Yo.
So it's gonna take time, right? Maybe a couple, maybe
Wait,
a
what
few
we talking
hours
about?
to prepare.
The meal.
The real meal.
You're talking about,
Okay.
you got to knead this dough. You got to kill this. You got to skin this. You got to do all this stuff. So
It's a lot of work.
I imagine the fellowshipping, right? Abraham was probably running around for a little while, and then he finally got a chance to stand next to him and let him enjoy the meal.
Right.
And I think at this point he realized, because he spoke about the promise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
So he's like,
that's what
oh,
you're saying. Right.
how do you know about the promise?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So now he's probably like, oh, it's the Lord.
This is, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So the Lord's like, yo, what's the old lady? Where's she at? Oh yeah, she in the tent, being nosy body.
Nosy. Her ear hustling.
Ear hustling.
Right.
So she's in the tent, doing whatever. And then that's when the Lord, speaks this promise again. Right? And he said that you're going to have a child.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, they didn't have a child yet. And it's still in that time frame, because in the last chapter, Abraham, he kind of stated their age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100 and my wife is
Right.
was it 90
99.
or something? Yeah, something like
99,
that.
yeah. Or 90.
So it wasn't that much time then passed, and I lean towards what you're saying.
Right.
They wasn't having sex.
Yeah.
So they were old, like old. Like I don't even want to have sex.
Like dirt.
Like dust.
Like I don't even feel like having sex. We could just lay next to each other and put our legs on each other.
Joy it up. Yeah. Nah, because it was menopause. You could see menopause already.
It was clear
And that's where she was at. Yeah.
It was clear that they were past
that.
Now past the age of enjoying pleasure in the marriage. Like they were past that. Like, you're done. We done. We just ready to
word up.
And the Lord probably came through like, your dog.
That's how it's gonna happen.
Y'all need to get it cracking over here.
And that's why I said it.
Yeah, the Lord was like, your dog, y'all need to get it cracking. And that's kind of... That's
why she laughed. Because I think it was more like we not even doing it.
Yeah, we're like brothers and sisters up in here.
Oh, man.
So now when the Lord told Abraham the promise, you're going to have it with your wife, right? And he was like, yeah, we're old and stuff like that. The way he said it. Did he think like, all right, well, then you're just gonna do it, and she's just gonna end up pregnant, spiritualizing the whole thing,
right? That's what I was thinking. That's why she even said it, because like you said, the fellowship probably was talking like that, and she's hearing it and is like, wait, talking about the way you saying it is like it's gonna happen the regular way. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's gonna happen the regular way through sex. And that's why I was like, she was in her mind internally, she's trying to process all of this. Like, we passed all of that already. Right. We're not even on that time no more, me and him. But the way the Lord was inferring it was like, no, that's the way it's going to happen. And I think that's why she even said
How long do you think that the time frame was from the end of 17 or from 17 to 18 where God told him, that this was going to happen with your wife?
I mean, it could have been within the same year.
Yeah.
Or
because
within 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I would think when God told him in 17, your wife is gonna, that at least he hit it a couple times to, you know. You know what I'm saying?
That's a speculation. I ain't gonna. You could.
Yo, the Lord came down and told
You
her,
on
yo,
the island. You
it's
could be
gonna
on the island
with your wife.
Go ahead. Give him 5
You know
minutes.
what I'm
Everybody
saying?
fall back.
That's what I'm just saying. So he was, all right, I'm gonna trust you. It gotta be a one and done.
All right, but what was Sarah's? What did the laughter betray?
Unbelief.
She didn't believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that made Abraham understand who he was dealing with.
As far as okay.
Because now it's like
Lord.
you're able to perceive what's in her heart. Because remember, she didn't say it out loud.
Right.
She said it in her heart. Now Abraham is like, oh,
Yeah, he could put it together.
right.
Oh yeah.
now
yeah.
you omniscient, now he's seeing the qualities of God. And this is somebody that spent time with God, so he knows.
Right.
You're able to recognize God quick.
I mean, that's why I think he knew who it was right away, man.
Nah,
I don't think so.
believe
Yo, he
so.
ran too quick to these 3 strangers, bro.
That's
I
the
struggle
culture.
with that.
Those dudes,
Lot is going to do that.
yeah, because he knew who they were. He knew they
No,
were
I don't
angels,
think
you
so.
So the way he said the way he says my Lord here, I mean, how he says it is
one?
capital. When he
Yeah.
first meets him
There's
in
mad
3,
capitals
he
here,
says,
bro.
and said my Lord. The way he says it is he capitals, like he says it recognizing that it's God.
And in the first,
So that's
few
why
verses, he
I'm
says that
struggling.
too.
But I still lean towards that he didn't know.
Nah, I think
for
he
some
knew.
reason.
I mean,
No, but that's a typical terminology that they use.
is?
Yeah, when they say
Even
like,
with the
my Lord.
capital.
No. In the Bible, when
But-
they capitalize something, it's for Christ.
No,
but is that for
no.
us to recognize
Yeah, that's the
who
thing.
it is?
Okay.
Or was Abraham?
And that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
too. Yeah. That's why I was thinking that was more
Yeah.
letting us know
Right.
that was Christ.
Christophany.
But
Right.
I still think
I don't know,
Abraham.
right.
Yeah, I don't think
I
Abraham.
don't know.
This is the 5th time that God had met with Abraham. He knew who God was. This wasn't just the first time. You know, he had the altars that he was meeting with the Lord. This is the 5th time that God showed up.
Listen,
God,
before
he knew who God was.
listen, before you had visions, you had, the word. You had Abraham in a deep sleep, and he's having this vision coming in. The Lord came in different ways.
Yeah, it's
And
a
but
fire.
he knew
but
who he was
he
every
was-
time.
But he was able to recognize his character.
Right.
That's how I see it. So either way, he could have,
I mean, yeah, we
or
don't
he
know for
couldn't
sure,
have. If he
but-
didn't, then he got the clues,
Yeah.
and he recognized, oh, this is the Lord. And if he did, then he did.
yeah, I
You know what
mean,
I'm saying?
it is what it is.
But
Yeah,
we
so-
seeing the same scenario as the last one, where we getting a laughter, and Sarah saying, obviously, like, yo, how we gonna have kids? We're not even having sex. But she said it in unbelief, and then she got checked hard. All right, and nothing that she didn't say anything audibly. She didn't say anything audibly, so she was listening. And
Do you think she was afraid because she wasn't supposed to be listening? Do you think that was the case? Because she was ear hustling. Like you got men speaking. You're preparing the meal. You're not even like you said again. It's customs. You're dealing with customs. Maybe you wasn't supposed to be listening, and you said it in your heart, and now the Lord had to check you because it was more like, okay, I'm speaking to Abraham, and it's us 4. You ear hustling. You say something in your heart, and I call you out, and then you lie. You're like, nah, I ain't say it. He's like, yo, dog, I know you said it, but it was more, it says she was afraid after he called out because it was more like, I wasn't even supposed to be listening to the conversation.
no, but I think she was afraid because now she recognized
Now
who
that's
she's dealing
God.
with.
Right.
Okay.
I don't.
I don't necessarily. I don't know. I don't know if that was cultural. I don't know if she was not supposed to be listening, but I do know that she heard something that she was already familiar with
Okay.
because she heard it from Abraham. She heard the promise.
Right.
She heard it over and over again. But when she heard it this time, not realizing who was saying it again, she laughed in disbelief and saying it in her heart. And now this person is saying, yo, why did your wife just laugh? And then the Lord says, is anything too hard for the Lord? That's the difference between this picture, right? Same type of we're reading the same type of reaction with a laughter and the statement. That's the difference between that one and the other one. The Lord is saying, yo, is there anything too hard for God? Like, is that what you're saying? You're saying this can't be done? And then Sarah comes out, like you said, and she lies on top. She denies that she laughed. The Lord was like, no, you laughed. What are y'all seeing?
I mean, I just see that she denied it. That's why she got checked.
I think she got scared.
Yeah.
And because she figured out that it was God, because she didn't say it outwardly. But, you know, once again, you know, that's also just the Lord's mercy and grace as human beings. She straight up laughed. She straight up lied.
No, she was afraid. That's the reason she lied, because she was afraid.
No, but I'm saying first she laughed in disbelief. Then she lied because she got caught. And still, God didn't punish her. He corrected her, but he didn't punish her. And
Yeah,
say, all right,
like I see the same reaction
he's
as
like,
with Abraham.
Yeah, like he's, and because once again, God says no, but you did laugh. So he, you know, that same word no is here, and that was when he was talking.
So
to
you're
Abraham.
putting it in the same context as the interaction with Abraham.
Yes,
Abraham,
that laugh I'm putting as the same laugh.
Abraham is putting God, when God is dealing with Abraham, God is telling Abraham, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Abraham tried to stuff Ishmael in there someplace. Like, this is the program, right?
Yeah.
And his laughter, again, it wasn't in disbelief, because the Lord didn't say, "Is there anything too hard for me?" Like, you're trying to say I can't do that.
That doesn't mean it wasn't in disbelief. Just because it doesn't say that. He was dealing with a completely different person. He's dealing with a woman here, a woman who he had never. Whenever he was interacting, it was always with Abraham.
But the response from God is different. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So now, it's in order to show you the differences between the laughters, you're seeing the different responses.
No, you're saying that God works differently with everybody, bro.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that
I don't look at it like, you're trying. I don't look at it just because you see God responding. You know, again, like I said, you know,
Was it a positive or a negative response?
What do you mean?
What's his response?
Correction.
Telling
it was a corrective.
It was a
response.
correction.
Yeah.
So he's telling Sarah, you don't believe that I could do what I'm saying I'm gonna do?
Yeah. Okay.
See, yeah.
Why?
That's
why? Because she didn't believe it.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
That's not what he told Abraham.
Right.
Okay.
So how are you comparing it and saying it's the same thing? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Because again, just because he dealt with her, because I'm seeing the same situation, but just because he dealt with her like that don't you can't say that
defines
define.
No, hold on.
Abraham
Let me throw out an example. What happened to Zacharias?
What happened to him?
You remember when
you talk about
the angel came
John
and
the
John
Baptist?
the
with John the Baptist?
Okay, so what happened with him?
Remember, he says, "Yo, you're gonna have a kid," and then he laughed. He said, "Word, you disbelieve? You ain't gonna talk."
Okay.
Somebody had the same reaction.
So how come he didn't shut her mouth?
Well, but that was a strong rebuke, though.
If the
but
Lord acts the same with everyone who
but
disbelieves.
who had a similar reaction? Didn't Mary have a similar reaction?
Yes.
Why didn't she get?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? She was like, yo, I don't have a husband. How am I going to get pregnant?
Right.
That's why I'm trying to show you there is a difference in the place of these comments. It's not John the Baptist's father was in unbelief. Mary wasn't in unbelief, but Mary's like, yo, how is this going to happen? I don't even have a husband. That doesn't mean she didn't believe.
Right.
That's the difference I'm trying to point out.
You're trying to figure out how's it gonna work.
The responses from God is two totally different responses. And we can't say, well, we don't know, because we know what we got in the scriptures, and what he did and said to Sarah is different than how he treated Abraham. Bro. There's no preference, and God is not a man pleaser where he's gonna treat one way.
He
and
does.
treat
He does it all the time. Yo, the way God deals with everybody is different,
bro.
He did that with the disciples.
So he's gonna deal with unbelief differently.
No,
from Abraham and Sarah.
It depends on how God is. Because I'm gonna show you. No, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yo, dog. When we look at the disciples, look. Oh no, it's true. Dog, it says that's why Paul says, yo, God is gonna have mercy on who he has mercy upon. Dog, I could do something and you could do the same thing, and the consequences is different.
Yep.
Yo, dog, I could do the same exact thing that you do, and the consequences is totally different. And you would be like, and on the outside, somebody would be like, Mike is a more godly man
No,
than
no. But
Marcus.
what do you mean by
No,
consequences?
dog.
What do you mean by consequences?
When I'm talking about reaction, however God reacts
the
to
response
it.
from God.
Yes.
We're dealing with the response. So you're saying
not
the
the-
response from God is going to be different for Abraham than I'm not talking about consequences in terms of the things that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the response from
from
God.
Yes. Why not? Dog, God is B.
I don't agree with that.
Listen,
You know,
listen,
but-
real quick. It says Abraham was his friend.
Okay.
Dog, the relationship that he had with Abraham, he didn't have with nobody
Completely
else.
different.
But
With his wife.
one thing you're missing though, because remember we got to throw everything in together, right?
Uh-huh.
He's the same yesterday, today,
Yep.
and forever. So how are we gonna say he's the same today, yesterday, forever? But then I'm gonna respond differently to this. I'm gonna respond to unbelief here, and I'm gonna respond to belief here differently.
Yo,
Listen,
the God is not man pleasing, dog.
All right.
Listen,
So,
let me just
this
read
is
that.
why-
No
let
problem.
me read
This
those
is why I
verses to you
disagree.
again
All
in
right,
chapter
dog.
17.
I'm not gonna fight.
Then Abraham, then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born to a man who is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 99 years old, bear a child? You know, and Abraham said to God, oh, that Ishmael might live before you.
And
then-
God said, yo,
No.
you don't
And
think
then-
I could do that?
Then God said, yeah. He said, no.
He said no.
Sarah, your wife shall bear a son.
Okay.
Because he was insinuating that Ishmael was that dude that he was going to use.
Listen, and that's why I'm trying to explain. Abraham believed what God said, right? He believed in amazement. He was like, man, I don't even know how you got to do this, but this is great. But yo, Ishmael, let him be.
We're
Is
seeing
Ishmael
that
part of
completely
this
different.
program? No, it's fine. We can see it
Yeah.
part of it. But what I'm trying to say is the response that God gave from Abraham is, why would he check Sarah like that?
We can't compare the responses if we're
'Cause
not
Sarah
on the
wasn't
same.
his best
we're not on
friend.
the same page with what that laugh is. If
Sarah
in
wasn't his
agreement-
best friend, man.
If we were in agreement with the laugh,
No.
then you can be in agreement with how
So
God
okay,
responded.
so you're saying
we're not. In
you're
agreement
saying the
with what
laugh
that
is the
meant.
same, but then the response from God is different.
yeah.
So for the disbelief of Abraham, the God let it slide.
No, but God
He
still
didn't let it slide.
corrected
He
him.
corrected him.
He
No.
corrected him here.
He said no.
He corrected him and said, no,
Yeah.
Ishmael is not going to be part of this
Yeah, the
program.
the
It's
correction.
going to be Isaac.
Yeah. So why did he have to correct him there?
Because he was like, no. Listen,
Because
he's not.
he-
No.
he
Listen.
thought that God
He's not
meant Ishmael,
correcting.
right?
No, he's not correcting
The unbelief.
that God can't do what he said he's going to do.
He's correcting him on
He's
the
telling
Ishmael.
him Ishmael is not part of this promise. No, you can't stick Ishmael in there. Ishmael, I'm going to take care of Ishmael. He's going to get blessed. That's what the Lord said when you read on. He's like, Ishmael's going to be blessed.
Listen.
All right.
I want you
don't have to
guys
believe it.
just
Yeah,
send
man,
in
that's
some
what I'm-
emails,
that's what I'm
guys.
saying,
Let us
dog.
know what y'all think.
Listen,
Send and some emails.
Yeah, so let us know what
we
y'all
could
think.
agree to disagree.
Hold
dog.
on, hold
We could
on.
keep
Let me
it
just
Go ahead,
let me
go
just
ahead,
read.
Ralph.
Let me just read one thing. All right, I'm in Romans 4. I'm gonna start reading in 16. He says, "That is why it depends on faith, in order that the promise may rest on grace and be guaranteed to all his offspring, not only to the adherent of the law, but also to the one who shares the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all, as it is written, I have made you father of many nations in the presence of God, in whom he believed, who gives life to the dead and calls into existence the things that do not exist. In hope he believed, against hope, that he should become the father of many nations, as he had been told, so shall your offspring be." And then when you continue, he goes, he did not weaken in faith when he considered his own body, which was good as dead, since he was about 100 years old, or when he considered the barrenness of Sarah's womb. So he's like, so this clearly says in Romans 4 that he had faith. He believed in what God was going to do, even though his body was good as dead, and even though Sarah was totally barren. So it was like he believed.
That's the end of the story.
From
Right?
chapter 15.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
the
that's
summary.
No, I don't
of
think it's
everything.
No,
So
I
at what
think
at what
that's from
point?
before.
At what point do you?
You don't.
That's
you
what I'm
don't-
saying.
that's
At what
I'm saying.
point?
You don't know,
where
what
point?
was.
Chapter 15.
That's
Okay.
the end of it.
All right, cool.
Chapter 15 was
I
the
think,
point.
All right,
I think
cool.
I think it's 15.
All
yeah.
right, no problem.
Listen,
We gotta sit here all day.
send in
dog.
some
We got-
emails, y'all.
We got the rest of the chapter to go through, dog.
Yo, what's
This
the-
is here. Sounded like Angelo over
What's
here.
the
email
truth?
Yo, let's finish the chapter.
So what you want to do? We could stay.
guys are
Y'all want to
corny.
fight it out? We fight
We
it out.
fight it
yo.
out.
We could stop
Fight it out.
and
yo.
continue next week.
So let's do that. I don't got no
But
problem.
you already killed the spirit.
son.
So let's
Why
move
we can't
on.
agree to disagree?
Let's move on.
Nah, we can't.
We
Y'all-
Christians,
y'all wrong,
man.
dog. Y'all
Yo, let's
we
go.
can't fight all the
Listen, Ange and
All right,
Mike
16.
is wrong.
I'm gonna humble myself for the second week in a row.
What else? Yo, I'm always wrong. What else is no dog?
Let's go.
Verse 16?
16 to 21. 21.
Then the men rose from there and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on the way. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing, since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him? For I have known him in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord to do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he had spoken to him. And the Lord said, because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grave, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it that has come to me. And if not, I will know.
All right, so what's happening over here?
Yo, Abraham is his dog. I mean, they were tight because it got to the point where he was about to break out, and he was like, yo, B, I can't hide this from Abraham. You know, and that's just so encouraging to me, because when the Lord reveals things to me, I'm like, you didn't have to reveal that to me. There's times I'm reading his word and it's personal, and I know like we deal with such a personal God. Like, he understands, he hears our cries. You know, even where he's like, yo, this outcry that's coming from this city, I hear it. You know, I'm here, I'm it's coming to my throne. The sin that's in this city is coming to my throne. I gotta go down. Let me go down and see what's going on. But we deal with such a personal God to the point where he was about to walk away, but he was like, should I hide that from Abraham? Abraham's my dog. It's like what I was saying in the beginning, like Abraham's faith, how he was growing with the Lord. He was so close to the Lord. His altars, where he looked at Abraham as like, you know, that's my friend. I can't hide that from him. And just God's transparency when it comes to each and every one of us individually, you can have the same relationship with God. You know, just like how Enoch walked with God so close, he didn't see death. Like, that's how personal and that's how close God wants to be with us, where he wants to reveal his will. You know, God doesn't hide his will.
Whose relationship is closer to God, Abraham or ours?
Whose relationship is closer to God? I mean, well,
I would
being
say
that
us.
the Holy Spirit lives in us.
Yeah,
I would go with us.
definitely.
Oh, you know, you brought that up, because that's one of the things I was looking into. I remember I asked you last time, is there a difference when he said walk before, walk after?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, and we see that, you know, in terms of like thinking about it, when like a child, or you know, the father walks after the child, keep him from falling, right? And then as the child grows, what happens is that now the child walks after the father, right? Because now you're being discipled, you're being guided by a father, you know. And then at a certain age, you walk with the father alongside. You know, you're older, you have your own family, your own children. Now you walk, you know, alongside. Like you see a picture of when Enoch walked with God. And then when you go into Colossians chapter 2, he says, walk in Christ. So you're seeing the progression here as you go, the walking before, walking after, walk with, and then walk in Christ as when you get to the New Testament, how we have.
So what were you saying for the walk before? That's the younger sort of Christian?
Yeah, so it's like walk before when the father's in front, the things that when the father's behind you and you're walking before. So that's the child, the baby, you know, and the father's behind them, kind of like
so they're
guiding
sort of
them.
weak in the faith and things
Right,
like that.
right.
So, which makes me and Mike correct, because in chapter 17,
Yeah,
when he tells him, walk before me,
He set you up, man.
meaning, obviously, he's weak in the faith. So he's like, walk before me, Abraham.
Yo, tell him, man.
Walk
Filthy.
before me. He ain't walking with him right now. He said, come on,
I'm
little
his hype.
that one.
I'm his
Come on,
hype
little
man.
baby in the faith.
I'm a hype man.
You know what I'm
Filthy.
saying? Come on, little
That
baby.
was a good one. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
that's how I was like.
And what we see is, you know, when you spend time with the Lord and you spend time in his word, you spend time fellowshipping with God, he's going to reveal stuff to you. But what's interesting, he tells them why he's revealing it, like, because there's a specific reason.
Yeah.
Right. And Abraham, like, you should know this, because you're going to have to deal with your family.
Yep.
And you're going to have to deal with the generations after you to teach them to what else? What he say? To keep the way of the Lord, to do righteousness and justice. Right? Like these are the things that the revelation of God is supposed to lead you to do. Right? It's not he wasn't telling Abraham because Abraham, yo, this is gossip. Yo, check out what we're about to do. Da, 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 da. It wasn't anything like that. It's every time God reveals himself, it's so that it could help others.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just thinking about it as in the role of a leader or a father or head of a household. Right. And as you spend time with God and as he's revealing stuff to you, that's supposed to spread out to go outward to your wife, your children. And you're supposed to teach them that, right? So that they could continue to follow, to keep the way of the Lord, right? To do righteousness and to do justice.
Yeah, and I see it just this was supposed to go on for generations. Like the responsibility Abraham had started with his household. Like he taught his household, and this would go on for generations after generations after generations. That's why, like you said again, I'm supporting what you're saying, because it's so important to worry about your household, your family, because you always hear about generational curses. You know how something that happened with the grandmother and it was passed on to the mother, and now it's on to you, and then it could get passed on to your kids. That can all be broken with you just a man standing up and leading his family. Changing that, following the Lord, getting saved, bringing, people in your household to Christ. Now you can break that the same way how you could have them generational curses. You can have generational blessings. Yeah. So it's like he was like this part of him becoming a great nation, dog, it started in his household. Like sometimes we're so worried about, you're thinking about generations down the line and you're not worried about the immediate. Like, dog, it starts with your household. Worry about what's in front of you, which is your household, which is your wife, your kids, and your neighbors and the people around you. And then you can break that cycle, as generations go on. So by the time you get to your great grandkids, they're Christians because you broke that. And that's the whole point. And we see God even paying tribute to Abraham, right? We say, surely Abraham is going to become a great and mighty nation. Right. And I know the Lord could look at each and every one of us. I ask that question, who has a closer relationship? Like if you're really going through it, the church has a closer relationship with God than any of the Old Testament prophets did, because we have God living inside of us through his Holy Spirit. Right. Right. So these things, all right, this statement that God made, Abraham is going to be great and mighty. God says that to each and every one of us. And he said, you may command your children. It wasn't, ain't no choice, B. You may command your children. That's the point, man. Your household. It says that they may do righteousness and justice. So it's active, like it's authority, being assertive, I should say, as a man. But you seeing that he's looking at Abraham like it starts with you, the man. Right. And you just look at society, how they don't want men in the household. You're looking at it like men are under attack. When you're looking at it like, it's being preached that you don't need a man. We don't need men. But you seeing how the Lord looking at it, he's like, nah, this great nation is going to come out of Abraham, and he has to go and command his children. He has to go inside the house and command that, and so that they can do righteousness. So being active and being proactive in that walk and being an example, the man has to be an example. But you seeing the Lord, it starts with Abraham. It starts with you, B.
Yeah, that's a great point. You said how you saying men are under attack in society, and you've seen it from history, because it started off. You could see from just the television shows. I could almost pinpoint it back to like Bundy,
Homer Simpson.
You know what I'm saying? And you've seen the decline of how men and fathers being treated in the homes, and it just progressively went through all these different sitcoms and shows, and how men was just like, they're total clowns, they're dummies, they can't direct their families, we don't need them, to the point where now there's toxic masculinity. It's like on a total other side of the spectrum. Right. It's either you're a total clown or you're some savage, abusing, destructive. So it's like, yo, there's an attack on men.
Of course.
And
you're seeing, he's showing here, he's
Right.
like, this thing about generations, dog, starts with Abraham in your household, bro. That's where it
right.
starts. And if you teach your kids, if you teach your wife, if you teach your family, it's gonna get passed on to where we see the nation of Israel. Right. They get all of this, but it started with Abraham in his house.
And it's all to disrupt the order, right? We know that God moves in order, right? He's very orderly. And if you want to disrupt that, right? If you want to destroy society, if you want to destroy a community, you destroy a household.
Yeah.
Right. So once you mess that order up and you flip it on its head,
The family.
it's like a domino effect.
Yeah. Right. You destroy the family structure.
So yeah, we're gonna use social media to destroy men, to destroy the image of men.
Yeah.
Right. We already took them out the household, so now young boys growing up, they don't have that image.
Yep.
So they're gonna get it from TV. They're gonna get it from the music.
Yep. They're
gonna get it from TV shows and reality shows. These are the images of men that they're getting, right? And that's just destroying that image, and you see the consequences. You see the repercussions.
Yeah, I remember growing up, one of the hardest rap songs or videos that hit me was Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs, Be a Father to Your Child. I remember when that video came out, video music. Now I'm showing my age, but when it hit, I remember watching that video. But at least that was a message that was, it was pushed out. Like you had rappers doing that. You had musicians talking about, be a father to your child. Fathers are important. Men are important. Not just, everybody's trash, men are trash, everything is this, again, I want to disrupt the nucleus of the family and mess up the family. That's my goal.
That's what it is.
You wasn't hearing that, like, at least like you said, you had Al Bundy in it, but at least you still saw a man.
Right.
Yeah, they had us.
But he was a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, you had him looking like an idiot, but but at least you even just still saw men, but it's getting to a point where, but I don't want to go on a tangent. Let's move on.
All right. So what's happening? We have judgment. Judgment is coming. So why is God going to judge Sodom and Gomorrah?
Because of the outcry, B.
Dude, I love that. Right when 16, it says, then the men rose from there and looked towards Sodom. And I see that, it's them standing and looking with that intent, like, we about to go destroy this place. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then that outcry, the sin, what it says, it was great, and their sin was very grave. And I think about America, and I think about the outcry of the sin of the innocent babies that have been murdered, and the children that have been molested, and the wives and the women that have been beaten, and like, just dude, the outcry of sin in America, we see it. We see society crashing. And that and if you don't think God is up there, and that outcry is hitting him now.
So let me ask you a question. Who was crying, right? So the outcry is a picture of people calling on to God, people complaining, people praying about what's going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. But who was doing it?
I say Abraham.
Well, that's a good question, because I don't know if it's specifically righteous people inside of Sodom and Gomorrah, because obviously there weren't any.
So it wasn't.
So I don't think people inside.
It wasn't people inside.
I say Abraham.
I think it could have been the spiritual realm. The trees cry out to God. You know what I mean? Like, just that sin is an aroma that the Lord sees. You know, and smells. You know what I mean? And that could potentially be
Abraham.
The outcry.
I'm wondering if it's just the peripheral, the neighborhood surrounding it, because it is in a location and there's people all over. Yeah. So, in Sodom and Gomorrah, because it was 5 cities, they were the major cities in that area, and I think it's probably what would you call like the suburbs, I guess. And the sin never remains in that location. It must spill over, or they seen the effects of it, the consequence of it. So that's what I'm thinking the outcry is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
neighborhoods.
I say Abraham.
So you're dealing with the surrounding areas where people are like complaining. You're dealing with travelers, people that got to travel, maybe through Sodom and Gomorrah, and people hearing of the atrocities going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're complaining to God about it, including Abraham, right? Because Abraham was in the outskirts. He wasn't in, he was out. So God is saying,
and his nephew's in there. Because as we see, you could see the attitude when we move on, but let's go.
So God is like, yo, 2 reasons. There's an outcry. People is complaining. And again, I'll compare it to right now. Are people complaining? Are people crying out with the atrocities happening in our cities?
Yep.
Right? Because
we
see here, God hears that. And then when he hears that, he's going to come down and check.
Yo.
Very consistent.
Very
consistent. We saw that from the garden. When they messed up, God came down and checked.
All the time.
You want to build a tower? Yo, let's go down and see what they doing. Right? Genesis 6. But
why you
everybody's heart is wicked.
Why do you think he does that?
Because he's responsible.
He's responsible.
And he was like, yo, dog, you're not going to say, I'm going to show you, I'm going to come and make sure.
That's it.
Because he's just so real.
I agree. Right. It's like I don't want when this fire come down, I don't want nobody to be like,
yo, why ain't you warm?
Why you ain't? Yeah,
nah,
this wasn't fair. No, what you're about to see in the next chapter, he's like, dog, it played out when I was there. Y'all didn't treat me no different. I came personally, and y'all treated me just like how y'all treated everybody else. Dog, y'all did it right in front of me.
And it's crazy. He and God is saying, right, knowing that he knows everything. He was like, yo, I'm gonna go see if what's happening
is real
with with what I'm hearing.
Right.
Let me go match it up. So again, God just being thorough, and he's doing that for us, right? Just being thorough, because that's what he says. Like, I'm gonna go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry. Y'all complaining, is this for real? Let me go see if this is for real.
Straight up,
right? And those are the 2 reasons he gives, right? So now, I think about like us when we see the news and we see these headlines and these crazy things that's happening. Right. In our cities, in our communities, is it to a point where we're so numb, right? When you hear about these young cats with no conscience just shooting,
right up,
right? You seeing the video. Everybody got video now. Everything is live. Everything is on the Instagram. It's on the YouTube, and you're seeing these crimes. After a while, you could get numb, where it's like, all right, whatever, another one dead.
I mean, people tell you straight up, I don't watch the news no more. Because they don't want to hear it.
It's on your timeline.
Yeah, but they try
it's viral now.
Yeah, but you see people, they get to the point where they try to block it out. That's what happens when things start getting crazy around you. Right. You try to block it out and you try to build your own little world. So that's why you'll just start to be a gamer and I'm a game for 24 hours, because that's just the way you coping with what's going on in society. Society is going crazy, but you're like, let me stick my head in the sand. So people do that.
Yeah, man. So let's finish reading from.
Ain't nothing wrong, you can play your video games though. Have the video game people come after me, dog.
So let's read from 22 to the end.
Then the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord, and Abraham came near and said, would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there were 50 righteous within the city. Would you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? So the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. Then Abraham answered and said, indeed, now I, who am but dust and ashes, have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose there were 5 less than the 50 righteous. Would you destroy all of the city for lack of 5? So he said, if I find there 45, I will not destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again and said, suppose there should be 40 found there. So he said, I will not do it for the sake of 40. Then he said, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Suppose 30 should be found there. So he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, indeed, now I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 should be found there. So he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. Then he said, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak but once more. Suppose 10 should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. So the Lord went his way as soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham. And Abraham returned to his place.
Yo, Abraham should have been a lawyer, B. Straight up. He was standing in the gap.
He knew what he was doing, though.
But he knew his nephew was there. And just to see his heart, like, he knew it was God. He knew who he was stepping to, but his heart was really breaking. Just thinking about his nephew being there. You already know what he's about to go do. He's like, yo, my nephew, his wife is there. I got the kids is over there. He was really pleading and interceding, and it's convicting for me. Are we just like that at the throne of God?
Interceding?
Yeah, day and night for our loved ones, for the people that are around us that are lost. Like, are we really trying to intercede like that to the point where he's trying to, you could see him trying to wear God down, and God is entertaining it.
Right.
That's what's crazy thing about it. God is like, because God's heart is that none should perish. That's really God's heart. That's why God is like, yo, bro, I'm with you. If there's 50, all right. If there's 40, and he goes down with Abraham, because Abraham is really hitting God's heart, because his heart is that none should perish. That's really God's heart.
This beautiful picture of prayer, intercessory prayer, with Abraham, standing in the gap for Sodom and Gomorrah. We see his humility. We see his boldness in approaching God, right? But I think the fact that he spends so much time with God, that's where you build up that boldness, right? In order to talk to God and deal with him real, right? But always in humility, right? You're reading what he's saying is bold, is very specific. It's not a general prayer. Oh God, speak. He was like, nah. First, he establishes the principle about God's character. Yo, you're not a God that would destroy the righteous with the wicked. Right. He established that. Right? So his prayer is based on who God is. It's not based on what he wants. Right? He didn't come to God and be like, wait, why are you doing that? I got people.
It's not fair.
He's not asking questions. He's not saying like, yo, that's not fair.
Right.
You're unjust. He already know. Like, yo, if you're going to do this, then I know that you're not going to do it this way. I know that you're not going to destroy the righteous with the wicked, because that's not who you are. And then he proceeds to just really go into it. All right, let's see how many righteous has to be there. Right? He was probably hoping the 50. If there was 50, and the Lord was like, nah, I'm not going to, if there's 50, I won't touch it. And like you said, the Lord entertains. Right? Go ahead.
I think Abraham knew there weren't 50 righteous in there, but like you said, he was trying to tug on the Lord's heartstring and bring it down. He probably knew there weren't even 10. But I also see, if this is true, where the Lord doesn't, destroy the righteous with the wicked, then this sort of leans more toward pre-trib rapture, right? You know what I mean? Like, why would we be stuck in pre-trib? And that's just a random thought. But I just, shall not the judge of all the earth do right? That verse is so powerful to me, because even if your young son dies or something just seems unfair, someone dies of cancer that shouldn't have, we have to trust that the judge of all the earth is doing right.
Correct.
And just because that person died young, or that person was good in your eyes, and something as bad is happening to them, dude, at the end of the day, where people spend eternity is the most important thing.
Amen.
So just because someone may be wiped out early, God has a plan, and I have to trust that.
Right.
So I just love that verse right there, because I trust that the God who's just, the judge of all the earth, is gonna do right by me.
Right.
Yo, man, be persistent in your prayer. Be
Right.
persistent. Be specific.
Yeah.
Right? You can't get any more specific than 40, 50, 45, 40,
30,
30, and then he goes
20,
by
down to
tens, down to 10. And By the time he reached 10, Abe was like, all right, hopefully, I know there's 4. Hopefully you'll be able to get 6 more guys to get out of there. There wasn't even 10. There wasn't 10 righteous people in that city so that God would pour grace, have mercy. So now you see why that tipping point was reached with Sodom and Gomorrah, right? We read before where God was talking about the land of Canaan when he said the sins of the, I forgot what group.
Of the Amorites.
The sins of the Amorites.
Yeah.
Right? It's gonna be ripe by the time you guys spend this. He was kind of telling Abraham what's gonna happen in the future and what's gonna happen to your generation. Like, it's not all gonna be rosy. Like your descendants, they're gonna go through turmoil. But then I'm gonna use them to judge the Amorites, because by that time their sins is gonna top off.
Yep.
Right? So you're seeing the grace, you're seeing the patience of God in all of this.
Yeah, it's not time.
It's not time.
Yeah, so you can't pinpoint it to a day.
It's not. It's morality.
As far as the return of Jesus Christ, it's all about morality. That's how it's judged. It's
and then time. Next week we're gonna see the condition of that city. All right. So just a beautiful picture of prayer, man, and I think this is a good section we could learn from in how to talk to God. But it all starts with these altars that Abraham has been building throughout his life, right? For him to have that boldness, for him to have that confidence, for him, that humility, it comes with spending time with God. And when you spend time with God, God is going to be like, I'm not going to keep anything from you. I'm going to reveal things from you. Yep. I'm going to reveal things to you. And when I reveal things to you, it's going to affect the people in your life. It's going to affect the people that you come in contact with. It's going to affect your community. It's not just for you to have information and know. It's to bless others. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And
that's the will of God, like people always, what's the will of God? What's the will of God? But God wants to reveal his will to you. God doesn't want to hide it. And you see it with Abraham, where he was just like, shall I hide this from him? And that's not God's attitude, especially as you grow in faith and you grow in grace with God. He wants to reveal everything to you more and more each day, but it's all on, it's all on how do we make ourselves available? Do we make ourselves available? Like you said, spending time with God in the morning and inviting God in. You see his attitude. The reason it got there, because look how he treated God from off the jump. It's like, come in, come sit down, come eat, wash your feet. Here, stood by him, served him. That's why God probably walked out full, belly full. Like, B, that was the best steak I ever had. That was the best piece of bread I ever had. He was like, you think I'm gonna hide this from my man? Look how my man just took it. Look how my man
my feet's clean.
Well, my feet's clean. I'm more refreshed.
I got a glossy on the toes.
What? My belly full, and I'm gonna hide this from my man. You see, God is real. God is like, B, you treat me good, B. Here, I'm gonna reveal it to you. To the point he was like, I even entertain what you got. We'll drop it all the way down to 10. I'm here. But it's that relationship that it was. You're seeing a picture of Abraham and God's relationship. It's clear,
and it's a scary thing, man. When it's judgment time, it's judgment time, and like you said, that principle is true. God is not gonna judge the righteous with the wicked, and He will take the righteous out. He did it before, with
rapture,
Noah.
no martyr. Rapture, no martyr.
Is that judgment or is it wrath?
I think it's the same thing.
Do you think it's the same thing, judgment and wrath?
Yeah.
Well, the wrath is the execution of the judgment. So I'm not gonna rain fire and brimstone on the righteous.
Yeah, but there's still the righteous will be judged. You know what I mean? So there is judge.
That's a different.
They're different.
Judgment is all right. Let's judge. The wrath is the execution of the judgment. Oh, you're guilty, so then you go to jail.
Yeah, and the reason I'm saying is because, like, Jesus took the wrath, the penalty of my sins, right? As a
Right.
Christian.
Right.
So how can I be sitting in the tribulation experiencing the wrath of God on the world? You know, it just doesn't make sense to me how some people think that we as Christians are going to be sitting through that
Right.
when it's his wrath, you know,
Right.
but
And it's the wrath of God himself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not, the wrath of the world or the wrath of the devil. That's different.
That's-
That's different. The wrath
know?
of God, and me as his bride, I got to sit through that? Nah, buddy.
And it's like what you said. He's the only one that's righteous. That's why he can execute that. Nobody else can execute judgment and wrath because nobody else is righteous.
he's the
Only
judge.
God is,
God
like you
like,
said.
right.
That was
Great point.
Abraham off the tip. Abraham was like, "Your dog, you're righteous." He understood, where but God is the only one that can judge and that can pour His wrath on a world or on a city, on whoever, because He is the only one that is righteous. Ain't nobody else righteous.
And he waited till there was less than 10 people that was righteous in that city
Mercy.
before he came and judged them. Patience, mercy,
Grace.
grace, all of that. But Ange, close us out in prayer, man. We finish it.
We'll hit up
19 next week.
Next week. All right. So, Jesus, we love you, Lord, and we just so blessed to be able to read this beautiful manuscript that you've given us, Father, and then to have these words jump off the page, and right into our hearts. It's just such a blessing. And we always ask you, Lord, that those that are out there listening or watching, that they would also fall in love with this book, and that they would allow it to change them, and that this world, that there would be a multiplication of the righteous, Father, that the world would see the changes in their lives. And we thank you for using this podcast, Lord, and us humble servants, Father. You get every ounce of glory in it. And we look forward to continuing in it and dissecting your word and having your spirit just teach us. So we love you, Lord, and be with us this week. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.